Welcome back to the second part of our episode on the future of AI. Today we are diving into big questions about the future of work. What happens if AI takes over all our jobs? How will this impact younger generations? Could this even lead to the end of humanity?
I'm Giorgio Zinaro.
I'm Ivan Peña, and this is Bootstrap for Cash. Okay, let's go with another topic, the future of labor. Many people refer to the Industrial Revolution to foresee what's coming in the future, right? Like existing jobs taking over by machines and new jobs created for humans. But this is the first time the new technology has the power to learn new things faster than us. So those new jobs will be learned by AI too, and quicker than what we can learn them. Let's take an example, prompt engineer. I mean, how many years does this role have? Like 1-2 years old? And AI can already do it for you, right? But we see that in robotics, things are evolving slower. And that leaves manual trades like plumbing or carpentry relatively untouched. So will physical work be the last safe space for human jobs in the AI era? What do you think? Let's start with Giorgio this time.
I think there is only one work that it genuinely, there is a new job that AI created, which is smuggling data in
from China
suitcases.
to Malaysia.
and GPUs, of course.
Yes.
Smuggling GPUs and hard disks with data. No, but seriously, we have this need to do things. I always feel like we have this need to be doing something at all times, which is not a bad thing per se. It's just who we are as humans. I just feel like sometimes our society kind of exploits that. So we have a need to be doing something. Usually, I'd say on average, it's could be a stereotype, negatively or positively. You can approach it both ways. But say most people, they try to spend their time actually doing something. And so working is something we actually seek.
It defines you. I mean, it gives you dignity. You know, being able to do something. You have dignity in doing that, and you need to have a purpose. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but you can even you hear it many times when people say you need to have a purpose. And actually, from experience, it is like that. As soon as you don't have a purpose, or you don't have a job, or you don't have like somehow a goal in it. Well, I know we say journey is important, but you still have to have the goal to do the journey. You cannot do a journey without having a purpose. And a job, you also do it for a certain purpose, but it also defines you because you use your time, you know you are useful. Because each one of us, from my experience, I like to feel that we want to do something. We want to feel, or at least I want to feel like used not being used, but that I'm useful, that I bring something to society. I mean, even if it's not society, to the society is about the people around myself. So you want to do something also for them, to give, to feel part of something. And in the end, I think even with the AI, with jobs that are going away and so forth, people will strive to find something to do. And what I'm asking myself is, will we be enough smart, enough creative to actually achieve that? But not just for the single one, for the whole society. Because we know there are people who are stronger than others, mentally and physically, and they are stronger if they're in difficulties, they can come out on their own. But there are others that are not, that don't have that possibility, the strength. And I'm worried about also for those people. because that has an impact on society, and in the end has an impact on each one of us. I mean, not to be too much philosophically here, but I mean, it's common sense from my point of view.
Juan?
I mean, maybe throw in some statistics, or not statistics, but experts' opinions here. The Anthropic CEO said, Dario Amodei, that he believes that AI will cause between 10 and 20% unemployment within the next years. This is huge for countries. I mean, we have suffered that in my country, especially in young people. Maybe the idea is to think of what is our ultimate goal with AI/ML. I mean, I think all technology should serve humans. We already survived the Industrial Revolution, then the web revolution in 2000, .com, and now it's coming the AI/ML. I don't think we should forget that technology is here to help us, but not to destroy us. And I don't know what will be the jobs that will remain untouchable, so to say. I just have no idea. What I know is that at the very end, the result of this new technology should be at least that we all live better. And there is a huge amount of work to be done there. Because as Mauro mentioned, today, job gives us dignity. So how we are going to maybe supply that demand that we have? I mean, I see it in my job. We have white papers of new LLMs models coming pretty much every month. You have to catch up with new technology trends, changes that are going so fast, new frameworks. And this is just, the very beginning. Things are going to speed up. So it's really impossible for me to keep up with that technology. And sometimes I feel this syndrome we were talking about before, the imposter syndrome, right? It's impossible to keep up with everything that is happening. So I really start thinking, is it my job going to be a useful job within the next 10 years? But what is important to remember is what Darwin said, that it's not the most powerful or intelligent animal, the one that survives, but the one who adapts better to the new circumstances. So I think adaptability will play an important role, and how society shapes, with the impact of AI/ML. So, and if politicians or lawmakers and these people who have, and also of course the AI/ML companies who are producing this powerful software, if we will be able to control it in a way that at the end helps us as human beings and do not create more problems than solutions, because at the end, we need to evolve, not get back to, or maybe, Einstein was right. The Third World War, probably nobody knows how it's going to be, but the fourth is going to be with the stones and sticks. So I think this is something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The last point that you talked about, the risk and also politicians and politics to, I'm not saying to control, but to guide it into the proper direction. Although we don't know what it is, the proper direction, because it's something that we cannot foresee. Something, I mean, even if we talk about, Giorgio was talking about superpowers, if we talk about super intelligence, so just think about something that is more intelligent than us. It's like, what is that? We cannot cope with that. We go. I mean, I was also listening to an interview, and they were talking about complex system. I mean, complex system for us, it's very difficult to understand for the human being, and if we go into that direction, we are not able to predict, and also the speed with which those changes are being made and this evolution of AI. I mean, it's unprecedented. I mean, I don't remember anything that has evolved that fast. You know, anything technologically that has evolved that fast. And now also adaptability. Are we able to adapt to it? And foremost, also like those changes, are they going into the direction that it will not harm us, but actually help us? And I think the whole society, and especially also politics, should look into that it evolves in a direction that actually does good or contribute in a good way to society. Because also is what also scares me a bit, or where I'm a bit like reluctant, it's about the why about the reason why this race is being made. So this all AI race, what's the reason there is so much eagerness into developing the super intelligence? Is it to like really enhance and does some good to the human society? Or is it just to be the one who said, hey, I developed super intelligence? Or even I'm the one who controls the super intelligence, you know, who has the power, or even or even the wealth that is generated by that. Because once you have super intelligence, like George was saying, then you have all the superpowers that you might have. So you control everything. It's about being the one who controls the whole society, or is it so that I can invent something that does some good to society? And that's what the biggest question that I have out of all is, why are we racing that much? What's the reason that makes us race this much to develop the super intelligent?
This is a very good point, actually. And I think my personal opinion is there are two reasons, and both of them are based on human biases, right? One is our ego, to be, as you said, the first ones to beat each other. So we are the first one, and we beat those guys. So that's one thing, the challenge or the competition part. And the second is security, right? We are programmed naturally to, in a way, when you're considered a threat, to kill each other, right? And this is happening among countries. It's happening between different countries, but also between the US and China, which are right now the biggest players. So actually, there were some interviews to those guys from these big corporations in the US. Why are you racing that much? Why so fast? Because if I don't do it, China will do it, right? So at the end, it's not that you want to. I mean, I'm pretty sure they want to, but even if they didn't want to, if they don't do it, China will. And China is the competitor, right? So there is some security there that if we don't do it before them, they will take over our position in the world, right?
I mean, that's clear. Look what is happening, for instance, with companies like Palantir, right? So AIML is not only being used for, having conversations with a super intelligent machine. I mean, it's being used in defense, and it's getting more and more obvious that AI is going to be used as well in defense. You see the drones in Ukraine. You see as well in Israel. You see companies coming out like Big Bear, Palantir, helping U.S. defense. And this is something we cannot forget, that this is definitely a threat. And the technology that is available for us to use, maybe, it's just a small portion of what is already invented or what this technology is capable of. So it's definitely an interesting debate.
Mm-hmm. Can we do an imaginary exercise here for the next question, which is, what if you didn't have to work at all? We touched already this topic superficially, but let's get deeper into it by seeing ourselves in the future. And let's consider also that we have all the basic needs covered. So let's don't care about unemployment and all that. Let's assume that we can freely live without needing to get money, but we don't have a job. What we know today what a job is. Maybe in the future job, the concept job will be something different, but what we know today, we don't have that anymore. So if AI took care of every job, we'd have infinite free time. But for many, work, as we said, gives purpose and identity. So losing that could be as disorienting as it's liberating. So what could happen to society and to us as individuals if no one had to work anymore? Juan?
Well, I was discussing briefly this morning with my friend David, who is visiting me now, and he had a really good point. He mentioned like last year, only in Spain, we had 95 million tourists. And probably you have heard about some protests in Barcelona, but probably also in Rome, in Venice. Imagine if we all had free time and enough resources just to keep traveling around the world. From the logistics point of view, this is definitely a big challenge. I could say that, I don't know, probably we are not yet there to have a solution, for having the mobility of so many people who are having so much free time. And then a second aspect, I mean, for me, it's sure that I have many hobbies and I know how to keep myself entertained. But it's also true that I don't know if everybody is prepared to enjoy life and to do something useful or interesting or something that provides them a benefit with those 8 hours. Because I have the feeling that some people probably would start thinking too much, with those 8 hours that they used to work every day. And we are in the era of depression. So many people suffer depression, need to go or require support from psychologists, experts, because they have pretty much everything, but they are unhappy. So now with more time, probably they will have more time to think about what makes them so unhappy. And this is just my personal view. I think that's a big challenge. Probably we need to start having more education on how to use our time with purpose or wisely, and just be happy with ourselves on what we have. And of course, I'm talking about developed countries.
Mauro?
I never really thought what I would do if I had like free time.
Well, I sent you the question 2 weeks ago, so you had enough time to think about it.
Sure, but still doesn't change the fact that I really never thought about it, and in a sense, well, I gave some thought about it in a way, but really to go through that thought completely, to be able, what would I do? It's like, it's so hypothetical that it's very difficult to really do that. You only do that once you're there. And also because I never really thought it's more of a thing, because it's very difficult to imagine when a world where everybody has free time, because it's so difficult. Also, your friends will have free time. Even you guys will have free times, and probably I will call you up and say, what do you do? Oh yeah, already talking to the other friend, I'm going there, and stuff like that. And of course, now you have, for example, you would have already my answer. I will try to connect to the people that I feel good with. Try to be with them, to spend time with people that I feel good about. First thing, my family, my kid. I don't know, I would do something with them. I would, I don't know. It's like learn things, experience things. I would try to feel the way, so that I don't know, probably I would do things knowing myself that there are new where I can experience something. Like, I don't know, go play hockey. I mean, I started playing hockey like 4 or 5 years ago. It's like never done it before, but my kids started, and I say, yeah, let's go and do it. It's just go and I don't know, live life. It's very like weird to say, but what is living life for me is experiencing things with the people I cherish the most.
So in a nutshell, you could say that community is going to be even more important than it is today for humans, and is probably going to save us from this new paradigm.
But if you think about it, also the job is already community. I mean, well, there are people who yeah, of course, who take a job because they have a goal, in the sense they want to like go up the ladder, being in control, having power, making money. For me, yeah, it's maybe it's a mean to that, but most of my jobs, I chose it because of the people. And also, if you see, also going back, you were asking before, right at the beginning, yeah, and then you're going finance. I mean, I didn't choose to go in finance. Well, I chose it because I met some people that I wanted to work with. That's why I chose it. It's like, for me at least, it's very important to be with people and feel good while I'm with them, than to feeling bad about with them. And it's a matter of each individual, what is important for them.
Giorgio?
At the risk of sounding the workaholic, I would say the same I'm doing today. As in, I feel like the thing I can do best, let's put the right context, but the thing I can do best, and I genuinely like doing, I like to solve people's problems through technology. I genuinely started doing stuff in IT, let's say, because I enjoyed that. I mean, I've been really doing this since I was like 9 years old. And I found out that it is particularly useful, as we say, that through technology, you can solve many problems. Now, obviously, the challenge here is figuring out how much of our work will be automated in this question. Like, if does it also imply that nobody would also have no problem whatsoever? Because
that would be my
that's
next
always
question. Exactly, Georgia. What if like all the problems that you solve by software, it's done by an AI, and you don't have problems to solve?
that would be the real challenge, right? But then I guess I never thought about it that way. I was going to say my next answer was going to be I would just be out sailing a lot, I guess. But I guess most people would also have a lot of free time, right? So would be out there taking like sailing people around, I guess. Because not everybody can do that. And say, yeah, they can learn. Some people really struggle even at learning that, in my experience. I would be learning. I would try to learn at least a lot of things. I would like to learn so many things that I don't have enough time for right now. I'd like to learn how to fly, for example. I feel like that's very capital intensive and time intensive. So I've never gotten around to that.
Let's stay in this imaginary world, but let's turn it in a way. So now, let's keep AI doing everything, but we now know that with this model, this new model, economy needs to change, needs to adapt in a way, or the current economy models, right? So let's assume we don't have all the needs covered, and we are facing this situation that we don't have jobs anymore. No one has a job. What do you think economy is going to look like? And this is really speculative. So don't try to find data or answers based on data. There is none. I mean, you have some concepts already, like UBI, universal basic income, but could be something else. What do you think economy is going to look like? Juan?
There are some studies done with universal base income. I think one of them was run by Sam Altman, if I'm not mistaken, where he was proposing, I think he was giving like $1,000, if I'm not mistaken, for like a year and a half to a group of people. And he analyzed, or the group of people who did that experiment analyzed how those people evolved during this time. The conclusion was that, of course, they adapted to this new base income. It helped them to gain certain security, obviously, because they have already, or they can count on certain income that is coming, and that gave them a bit more freedom to make decisions, and as well a bit more time to reflect upon what they wanted to do, jobs, etc., if I remember correctly. Anyway, I think the world, the way we know it, probably will change a lot. Maybe getting more into a social system. I couldn't call it communism, but something probably new, where everybody definitely needs to get universal income. The problem here is that equality is not always justice, right? Everybody has different demands depending on the country that you're living, depending on what makes you happy. So that's going to be difficult, because some people have passion for do sailing, and some people are super happy, for instance, playing tennis. And if you want to sail a boat, you need more capital. It's just, a boat is more expensive than just playing tennis. So with universal income, how you are going to overcome all those challenges, right? And that's tough. Also, I'm not a big guy, so I'm 1.70 m, and you, Ivan, probably almost 2 meters. So, with the same universal income, probably for me, maybe it's enough to buy the steaks and the food that I that keeps me alive, but for you, maybe not. So what is this universal income going to look like? How is it going to be provided? How we will all reach a level of quality that is good enough for us? Wow, it's very difficult task. So I think that universal income is probably something that will come sooner or later. And I think that will bring prosperity to a lot of people, especially to those ones who, will lose their job, because at least certain income gives you security and more, say, more freedom to decide your next steps.
It's an interesting thing, because many people or experts said that universal income, so UBI, will not be enough. For instance, in Switzerland, UBI should be higher than in Spain, for instance, because the cost of living is higher. But I was thinking about it. What if, because at the end the prices are driven by the market. So if everyone in the world, or between Switzerland and Spain, everyone has the same UBI, won't that make prices shrink? And then we will have common prices all around the world, so everybody can live with an UBI more than enough? And if that's so, how is that going to affect the economy, right? Because shrinking prices is deflation, right? And we know deflation is not good for the economy. I'm just giving some food for thought here. I'm not saying that you need to answer it. Just think about it. But please, Mauro, you're next.
I have no idea. Really, honestly, I have no idea. I mean.
But you're Swiss. UBI was put to referendum, to popular voting once, and Switzerland rejected it, if I remember correctly. I don't know if you voted that time.
I know, of course. I mean, but that would be a different situation. I mean, it's like, because right now we have capitalism, and of course then you go and we have clear boundaries. I'm not an economist, so I'm still trying to understand capitalism as it is. I mean, that it's very, very weird or very difficult for me to answer. But that would be in the sense of, like, if I would look at UBI, for example, in Switzerland, is, of course, you would say, why would you need that? Because you have all the possibility to actually make a living. Of course, if you have some kind of like impairment or of any kind, then you would say, okay, but then you have the social system. And in Switzerland, the social system, I like to think it's quite good. So you don't have to really, there is no real need for a UBI here in Switzerland at the moment. But again, I'm not an economist, and maybe there are out there some economists, specialists who would say, you don't know what you're talking about. And I would say, yes, you're right. So that's why it's very difficult for me to answer this question. And I'm just saying, it's very, for me, I cannot get my head around what it would mean, because even if you have like a UBI, what does it even mean? For me, it's not. I'm thinking about the whole chain, even for prices. If you're able to buy something, that means how. For example, if you go and buy food, it's like, yeah, but who packaged the food? Is it all automatic? Who put it there? Are just full of robots? And then you start thinking, who built the robots? Are the robots building robots? Who are repairing the robots? Who supervise it? So it's like there is still always like the man in the loop, and then you think, okay, but what about those? Do they get compensated? It's like, for me, it's very difficult. I mean, I'm trying to, as I said, trying to understand capitalism, trying to understand communism, understand capitalistic communism, whatever you want to call it. So it's very difficult for me to understand what that means, and of course even thinking about a solution. I mean, I cannot even get my head around what will happen, like in 5 years when we have super intelligence, if we will have one. But yeah, I mean, it's so freaking crazy times that will come. But
Giorgio?
As Mauro says, in our thought exercise, the world is so different from what we know today. It's nearly impossible to apply any of our rules. All of our rules break down. Anything we know about prices and economics, they're just non-applicable, because it's a different universe that you're looking at, really. Maybe the only thing I can think of right now that would be most similar to currency as we know it would be energy, in a way. There is only so much energy we can wield. There is only so much energy. Well, actually, there is even a finite limit, the energy we could have in general, but there would be a limit on how much energy we can wield. And you could argue that that could be the only limit we can impose on ourselves. Like, whatever we do, there is only so much energy we can use for whatever task, activity. That requires somehow this supply chain that Mauro was describing. So imagine even if everything you do, all the needs are taken care of, but that needs energy. So maybe that would be the currency at that point. However, what really scares me, I feel like if we do get to that point, if we do get there, we will figure it out. It will not be a problem to live in that context. What I'm really scared about is getting there. That's usually the tricky part. I mean, humans, we adapt. We even lived during the Ice Age, but it's those transitional periods. Maybe we will face an Ice Age again, who knows? But it's that transitional period when you get all the storms and heat waves, and that's the harsh part. That's the one that is really hard to survive. And in the same way here, it's not going to be in one day everything will be automated. It's obviously not the case, but there will be a transitional period when somebody will be able to perform certain labor pretty much for free. They will have they will have to spend zero time doing certain things. They will have to spend zero capital maybe doing it, or very little capital, and then they will have all the wealth because suddenly they replace so much labor. Because remember, nowadays currency, let's say the nice thing about capitalism, get stoned for that, but I truly believe that we are exchanging currency for labor, and we need that. We genuinely need that, because if that wasn't the case, who would be cleaning septic tanks? Who would be actually building things in the heat of August? There are some things that just need to be done, but people, if you don't have money attached to it, if there is no value, that you need to have a value given to your labor for somebody to do that. So that's a good thing of money, that there is money attached to that labor. So yeah, maybe it's not the most pleasant thing, but somebody needs to do it. Somebody's maybe better than others at doing it. They can do it more efficiently, and so they make more money through it, and they deserve it. And the system kind of works with all its problems. I'm not going to get into that now.
One thing that the last thing that you said, it reminds me of a graphic that I've seen like a few days ago about over time they were looking at the cost of labor and this for how much would the labor be paid. So the value of labor. And it kind of like it was if I'm not mistaken, starting from the 70s, like the cost of labor decreased. So you basically, right now, you need to do more for the same. So it's like for X amount of labor, you get less nowadays than you would get like 30 years ago. And that is decreasing. So the cost of labor is decreasing. Now maybe you could start speculating, if now AI comes, then maybe the cost of labor goes up. But then the next question would be, who controls that? Because somehow there is something that made the cost of labor go down. And there is like let's say, I like to believe that there is something systematic that made that happen, because if you look at the graph, you see it is systematic, or there is something that changed. And now the question is, what did change? And will AI then help in that sense?
This connects quite well to the next topic, which is who controls that. Will AI increase wealth inequality? So many fear that AI will centralize wealth with the few who control the tech. So will AI widen the wealth gap? What do you think?
In my opinion, for sure, yes. Yeah, because let's say you will get like more productive in building something. Let's say just something that you build, or a company, and you will have less people that you need to pay. And AI, if you think about it, it's like it will get less expensive to do the same work, and you will get, so let's put it like that, for the people in charge who get like the benefit of AI, like the benefit, like the less cost and so forth, and the efficiency, the higher productivity that you get from AI, and you get less much cost, so we get like more wealth. Whereas the people who were getting some wealth for the same labor that was done, that it's now done or being replaced by AI, they will have zero income. So you get more people who will over time get less. And you will have those people who are in control or benefit from AI that will get more, because higher productivity, efficiency, and so forth. And therefore you have a higher income. So people in charge will be better off. People who are not in charge, who are being replaced by AI, are worse off. So that's simple thought.
So actually AI taking over everything, even those controlling jobs, might not be that bad after all, to avoid wealth inequality. Juan?
Yeah, probably those in control of AI will have quite a lot of power. So, I mean, we see it today, right? You just need to check which are the largest companies in the world, and they provide services that many people consume. So I believe that AI is just going to follow a very well-known pattern. And on the one hand, of course, wealth inequality, I agree with Mauro, what he said, but we also have to maybe see the bright side of it, just to look at it from a different angle. As what Giorgio mentioned before, having a super intelligence as an ally probably will give access to clever machines to many people. And probably here it's going to be tool that can provide also to people living maybe in undeveloped countries access to information like internet did. So access to machines, AI, algorithms that can help them as well to overcome the challenges that they have in a better way. So that might bring certain equality. So it's tough. I mean, I think yes, those companies that provide or produce AI will definitely have more power. Now, depending on if it's a developed country or an undeveloped country, the result might be different.
Giorgio?
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, it is exactly this transitional time as we evolve to definitely a better state of things. This transitional period is going to be tough, and yeah, it is very likely that it will create some inequality. Maybe it will just be the simplest thing, right? That taxation somehow will be adjusted, and that will somehow bring some balance into it. We'll keep the system. We know everything would pretty much work the same, but it's just going to be the taxation that gets adjusted for a very simple reason. I mean, it's clear that people getting displaced and maybe the cost of labor going down, then but somehow if some companies are still producing all that value and paying less taxes for it, if you've got labor from people, there is not just the salary, right? There is all sorts of ancillary costs, including taxes and social security that kind of disappear because AI doesn't get taxes and social security and money that is put into savings funds and pension funds, right? So all of that is going to disappear, or at least is going to be shrinked as more and more labor is offloaded onto AI. Maybe that would be a change, but it would be for an economist to say that. I don't feel qualified to answer.
We miss that role in this conversation, right? Or next time maybe. Yeah, there are certain countries already thinking about taxing AI, whatever that means. We don't know yet, but that could be a solution at least to support a possible UBI, right? Because otherwise, how do you pay that if you're not getting taxes, right? And just for your information, another interesting thing, maybe not related much, in a way it's related, but I don't know if you know, guys, but Cloudflare now allows you to block AI scrapers, so you can tax them in a way. So you can get money if they try to scrape your websites. So actually, that's a new business model, actually, that you can create business websites that can be scraped by AI, and then you get money through them. Another FYI. So with all this in mind, what we just discussed, what's the future of our young people? And this is interesting also for Mauro, right? Because he's the only one in this conversation that has kids. So AI is already a part of kids' lives, and I think it's getting even more. Like we mentioned in our previous podcast, Mattel is already did a partnership with OpenAI to include AI in their toys, which is, in our opinion, quite dangerous. But yeah, it's happening. So this interaction is shaping how they learn and think. As a parent, preparing them for the future is a big challenge, as we all know. So Mauro, for instance, how are you helping your kids navigate a world where AI is everywhere and growing fast?
I think as a parent, the first thing that I mean, you need to give a kid a tool to live his life. And I think the tools that a kid will have during his life are also like a combination of all the experiences that he has. So the knowledge that he gains from the experience. So a kid needs to experience it. And I think if AI takes away that experience, that will be detrimental for the development of a child. In my opinion, AI should be used to enhance these experiences, but not take away the experiences. You know, like I was reading also like comments about professors and so forth that they say nowadays students just use AI to cheat. So they basically are doing the experience of cheating, like we were saying earlier. It's like if you use the AI, how you use the AI, then you will get a master of using AI in that sense. So your skill will be cheating. So they will get like really good of using the AI to do their work for them. So they will excel at that. So that will be their skill. And I think as a parent, it's very difficult, or I don't know if I could say that, but it's important that you as a parent, you put in your knowledge or your experience to give the child the possibility to learn the skill that will be useful for his life. And I sometimes ask myself, do I know that? If I don't know how the future is, and I don't know what the skill are that he needs, that he or she needs, then how am I able as a parent to shape that? And as a parent, you try to do your best. Although you have the feeling you always screw up, you try to do your best. And for me personally, what is important to that I give to my children is first of all, I said it before, it's like to teach them to learn how to learn, and last but not least is also like know how to interact with people. Know what is important for a person, like friendship, love, and this, you could say, soft skills. I mean, how to be kind, how to be polite, how to interact with people in the proper way, how to read. I mean, not read people in the sense of like being manipulative or anything like that, but how to be empathetic, how to the real interaction with people, and to reflect on themselves. I think, going back to being human, whatever that means. But
you are in a way in a privileged position in this revolution, because at least you understand, maybe not 100%, but most of it, you understand what's happening because you are an IT. But many parents are not in that position. So they are facing this challenge without any knowledge at all. So if your kid comes to you today, let's assume he is now older and he needs to find a job, but he doesn't know what to do. How would you tip him? Like, what are the tips you would give him? Considering that you don't know what's going to happen anyway. I know it's a difficult question, but you all parents at some point will have to face it.
I mean, the first thing that comes into my mind is when they ask the same question to Elon Musk, and it just stands there like 10, 20 seconds, and just he doesn't know what to answer. And of course I'm also biased by what he says, but I'm inclined to answer almost the same. It's like telling the kid, do what your heart tells you that it's interesting, and eventually bring something back to, or contribute some good to society. And to be able to do that, you need to first understand yourself, be also empathetic with society, with the people around you, and also like knowing yourself, doing the experience, do what makes you feel good. And of course, I mean, now somebody could say, yeah, but for a psychopath or a deviant person or whatever, so like mental, some kind of like mental illness, that actually for him feeling good, it means to go around and kill people and whatever. It's like, okay, no, it's not what I mean. And now we're talking about my kids, and I hope they are not psychopath. I don't.
Let's assume the best case scenario, right?
Yeah. Best case scenario. No, but best case scenario, it's like how can you contribute better to society? It's when you feel good about yourself, and then of course you give that to people, and then I love to think that gives like some kind of a chain reaction, like a proper positive feedback loop. So the more you help somebody, the more you feel good, and the more that emphasizes or grows and enhances those qualities. And yeah, difficult question.
It is. Juan, you said off record that you have some interaction with our friend David, and he's a teacher in Spain. And what was this interaction about?
So David told me that many of, he's a teacher in high school, and he teaches to people, to young people around 15 years old, more or less. And he said that they had an interesting debate about how AI is impacting their quality of work, and as well their learning process. And the students realized that, of course, the quality of their job was higher compared to the deliveries that they produced without AI. But the more that they use AI, the standard of course goes up and their learning rate goes down, because they don't have to put so much effort, right? They just have to, I think Mauro mentioned it, kind of to use the AI better. But we all are IT people, and we know that user interfaces develop in a way that we can make the best usage of a tool with the simplest interface. So it's not taking so much effort anymore to use those tools. Of course, you have the concept of prompt engineering and fine-tuning, etc., but we are talking about 15 years old students. So he said that the students realized that when they have to spend hours in front of a book, analyze, read it, understand, memorize, etc., they could retain that information for longer periods and then use it later on as a side thinking for different activities. And when they were producing their deliveries with AI, they felt a bit more frustrated because the standards were higher and higher and higher. They didn't put so much effort, and then they couldn't retain that information afterwards. So yeah, my conclusion on that, and I was discussing with him, is that AI should not replace the learning effort from students, should help them. But at the school, it's about, many different topics, right? But about learning how to or to construct a morality, to learn concepts that will be important for students' life, in their career path, but also in their private life, at home. And this cannot be substituted by AI. Although AI, I guess, it's a good ally and can help them.
I'm a bit concerned, especially in our country, because the career path, so school or education in Spain doesn't prepare you for the market, to the labor, the actual labor market. So many people, young people, end up finishing university or whatever studies they did and having no clue of what to do next. This happens quite often, especially now in Spain. So I wonder how worse this is going to be once AI starts to change the whole labor market. Because now at least we know what's outside. We just don't know, or they don't know what to do. But if this is going to change completely, it's going to bring even more confusion to those young people to take the next step.
Sure. I mean, one thing that always comes to my mind, and I've said it many times, when you ended up with university, did you already know what to do? Or when you went into your first job, were you able to say, hey, I can use like 90% of what I've studied in university? I mean, of course, like, for example, you joke with me and say, hey, you have a PhD, and I say, yeah, but of course, that's good. But it's an experience. But the knowledge that I gained, and then when I went into finance, it was slim, you know, and you need to start from the beginning. But the biggest bag that you bring with yourself is always experience. So the fact that youngster, when they come into the market, they don't find a job or they're clueless. It's also like, my question is, were they able to learn how to look for something that is compelling to them, or they just navigated through university and stuff like that? You know, it's like being prepared for a job. My question, even more than I'm asking myself, is being prepared for a job, is it just the knowledge that you have, or the attitude that you have? I mean, there are many people who break out of university and they go to do a job because they know what they want. Now my question is it about people knowing what they want, or is they knowing, having knowledge about something, you know? So and in Spain, probably that the youngster are feeling lost. It's not about much the knowledge, but it's about the opportunity, because they don't see the opportunities. And the biggest thing is having opportunities, having knowing out of those opportunities, or being able to look for the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that is important, especially now that we are going through a big major shift and transition. We don't even know how our jobs are going to look like in 10 years. So how we can tell children, what they have to do. I think from my experience, there are some elements that probably we can use as, a lighthouse. One of them is follow your passion, whatever you do. Then do not be afraid to fail. I think this is also important, especially in the culture where we are coming from, where failure is perceived as something wrong, bad. And I think now more than ever, probably we have to fail several times until we find the sweet spot where we want to develop ourselves, right? And I think also is adapt to what is coming. Like we don't have, but we have seen it already. My father worked at the same company for his entire life. Like I have changed already 4 times. So this is and who knows what is coming in the future, right? So there are new, probably there will be a new society or a new way of facing the career, or the life of young people will be completely different from the life that we just experienced.
Giorgio, both of us are exposed daily to this AI race. By doing this podcast, we have to bring always the latest news in AI. We have to evolve our products with the newest technologies. And so we are, I think, in a very good position. So at some point, if we don't manage to get profitability at the end of this journey, at least I think we are in a very good position to transition to this new paradigm. Said that, with this privileged position you have, if you had a kid right now, or let's say a teenager, and you had to recommend him or recommend them something to learn to be prepared for the future, what would that be?
To be honest, this just triggers a pet peeve of mine. And this is, regardless of AI, or you could say especially more so with AI, I just feel like at school, you teach so many things. Apparently, trying to prepare people for work, whatever that means. And it's not really true, as we said before. It really is not true. Maybe it was true at the beginning of the 20th century. We don't teach about understanding the world and learning how to learn. Somewhat that happens more in university, depending on many things anyway. But yeah, we don't teach enough about statistics, for example. If people only learned a bit about the fundamentals of probability and statistics, they would also understand AI a lot better and would know how to wield it in a much more effective way. And similarly, I would say economics. We don't teach about economics and finance, and again, that is how our world works, how our society works. So it is a pretty fundamental concept to know that it is an overarching concept. It matters regardless of what you will go on and do. I would argue that then in that scenario, AI could be a good tool, an ally in learning those things. For a teenager, I think nothing would be more important than learning. There's probably more to that, but these two concepts alone, I think they're a good example of learning how the world functions, learning how our society functions. And then that's the knowledge you need to then decide what you will go on to do, how you will contribute back to society. Everything else that we said before, I think it all applies. But yeah, I do share this feeling that school isn't really preparing very much, and this doesn't help. Right now, it doesn't help. If it's a tool to cheat, yeah, it doesn't really help, obviously, because it's not teaching you neither one skill nor the other, right? Yeah.
One thing that you said for what you said, for example, skills. I think also very, very important for the youngster is to understand what they are good at or what they can be good at. Because each one of us has a certain skill. You have skills that you learn, and you have skills that you're good at. Things that you are good at. And one big wish that I would have, like in the whole education system, and that they teach our kids, and also as a parent, it's also my duty to do that, but to make them understand at what they are good, at what they excel, because each one of us, it's good at something. It's genetics, probably. You could say it's genetics, whatever, or all the combination of experience, genetic, and whatever. And then understand how it can use those skills or use those capabilities to fulfill their life, to feel good about it, and excel at those and use them.
Maybe the universal income, helps.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's go with our closing topic.
On a very positive note.
So I like that you feel all so positive because it comes a difficult topic now.
Oh, really?
In the last 20 years, we suffer the worst economic crisis. And actually, probably that's what brought us here today altogether. But in the last 5, we suffer a pandemic. We suffer nuclear threats coming from the north. And climate change still there. And now AI. These are pressing global risks. And some think we are closer to extinction more than ever. Is AI pushing us towards our end? Or this is just another existential threat we will survive? Juan.
The godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, said at Christmas 2024 that he raised his pessimistic view on the threat of AI. And he also mentioned that we have between 10 and 20% of probability to cause human extinction due to this new technology. So if he says so and he understands this technology better than I think we should take that into consideration. I think we're closer than ever because we have the tools to cause them, right? Like 1,000 years ago, probably the biggest threat was the infections, and now we have many different mechanisms to create human extinction. So this is one more. Now everyone with technical expertise could overcome or jailbreak, so to say, large language models systems prompts and have access to very sensitive and dangerous information. So you could create a bomb at home. You could create dangerous weapons. I mean, you have information available to you. So imagine if large language models are adopted by malicious actors who want to harm big portions of population. As well, we could consider it in defense. It's a very dangerous tool, very powerful, which if it's used for the good, will benefit the humanity, let's see. But if it's used for the bad, it can harm. But as well, there is another concept that I read, which is interesting, is the misalignment between artificial intelligence goals and human goals. And this could happen as well, right? That we create a super intelligence that sooner or later, don't ask me how, could have self-conscious. And their goal, because for whatever reason, we might feel threatened as human beings of that powerful AI. Their goals and our goals differ, fork, and the AI decides to, for its own survival, attacks human beings. This is actually a real as well scenario. Well, I mean, not a real scenario, but a scenario being considered by the experts, which is super interesting as well. For me, it's a little bit fictitious yet, but it's something that is put there. So it's an interesting.
I'll be back.
Mauro?
Good topic. I mean, I don't know.
You hope not.
There is the possibility if you think there is the possibility, of course. I mean, you could speculate if you can even speculate in both sense. I mean, either the super intelligence, it's going to decide to wipe us all out because it is inherently like negative, or it has a certain bias towards humanity, just because for some reason it doesn't like humanity and then it wipes us all out. Or it's so intelligent that it says actually the humankind it needs to be wiped out, and it wipes us all out. But then you could say, okay, maybe it took the right decision for some reason, but whatever the reason is, you don't know. But I mean, and then you start to think, and even if you say, okay, then we make it safe enough that it doesn't wipe us all out, but even then it's like, can we control it right now? Will it make a difference? Of course, it is sad because it wipes out all humanity, but just think, when it wipes us all out, we don't know. I mean, after we are wiped out, we don't know that we are out. Just is. It's just sad. It's gone. If whatever, and of course, but on the other hand, we have the duty to make sure that doesn't happen. It can come so much good from AI, but it also depends on the human being, on us. Of course, there's little we can do, but we can do a little step around us to make sure that we do everything so that it has an impact somehow. Because in the end, it's decided by peoples that are not around us. But so, will it wipe us out? I don't know.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Giorgio?
Earlier, we were floating around an interesting analogy with the space race. Like AI is the new space race. If we do, that's what some researchers in the US said. If we don't do it, China will. And the space race was pretty much the same. If we don't go to the moon, Soviets will. But in truth, yes, there was a competition. You could say a just sporty competition. They just wanted to prove they could do it first. But we know in hindsight, or maybe they knew already. I don't know how. We weren't there, obviously. So I don't know how common knowledge it was. But in the real point was achieving satellite reconnaissance and achieving ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's the technology they wanted to achieve, and they wanted to prove. They wanted to be known that they had that technology. So yeah, if we bring that analogy further, it can be a bit scary. Whatever is behind.
Yeah, it's really the motivation behind it, because then you develop then the tool. Because I believe if you have a certain motivation, this bias will flow into the tool that you build. For whatever reason, if your purpose is to do harm, then the tool will have a bias towards being harmful. So whatever the motivation it is to achieve superintelligence, I hope that the motivation is good.
I'm a bit scared that human extinction will be caused by a bad prompt. So actually, those things that I don't remember exactly the use case or the example, but that you ask an AI something, you need to put bricks there. But in that moment, there is a human in the middle and it cannot put the bricks. But his final goal is to put bricks. And the only way to do it is by killing the human out of the way, right? And then it puts the bricks. So that's actually bad prompting. And I'm a bit scared that, that might happen with an AI that has access to weapons that can massively destruct, right?
It's more than ever important to review the pull request.
Yes.
Well, it depends how the reviewers think.
So there will be always a job, for humans to review.
Be a reviewer.
Exactly. All the commits that are executed so that AI is not creating its own change request.
No, but this happened already to OpenAI, right? They did a really bad commit and the model started to accept everything the other person was saying, right? So if the other person is like, I'm thinking about killing myself, is that a good idea? What do you think? And the model was in a way, trained to be complete compelling with the other person. So it was, why not, right? It was trying to accept what the other person was saying. And this happened because of a bad change they did and didn't test properly. So imagine that, ChatGPT is the tool most used right now in psychology, not by psychologists, but by the people consuming AI. So if that's already dangerous, imagine a bad commit to an AI that has access to mass destruction weapons, right? So
I guess we are lucky Elon Musk is no longer in this company. Before he got one of his teenager hackers to develop a nuclear launch code MCP server.
Well, we will always have internal networks, hopefully, firewalls that will block a request, and there will be at least for a check, hopefully, or a human in the loop, or more than a human in the loop. I hope that not everything will be automated.
Good, that's it, guys. How did you find it? We are still on record, so be careful what you say.
No, thank you very much. I feel very honored that you guys invited me and Juan. And thank you very much. It was interesting.
Thank you for help us generating more content. It's sometimes hard to come up with new content. Interesting content in this case. So actually, by the way, our number one podcast episode right now is the one with Rodrigo Sañudo. So let's hope that this new format, conversational format, also beats Sañudo. No pressure, guys.
No, you just need to put like in the keywords, there are keywords that are really like.
We are getting better at clickbait, but yeah, it's a bit sad sometimes when we have to come up with those titles.
No, I mean, for example, if you look at everyday AI, what are the buzzwords that they use? It's like incredible. They put everything that it's really.
Yeah. Juan, thoughts on your side?
No, it was great conversation. I did learn a lot, actually. Thanks for inviting me. Maybe on a bright side, I think it's great. I'm quite fascinated about what this tool is bringing every single day. I'm learning quite a lot. New technology, new protocols, new frameworks. It's true that it's changing the way I work, but I think it's also bringing a lot of positive things in my life, making it more efficient and being able as well to put more the focus where I want to, or where, I think my added value is more important and more relevant. So far, the AI, or the way I'm experiencing it, is helping me more to automate. I'm using it as a co-pilot. So, and I think that there are big chances as well that AI will be our co-pilot, and I hope that this is going to be the case. It's not here to replace us, but more to help us. So thanks for the podcast, and looking forward to hear myself when it's edited and in production.
From experience, I can tell you it's horrible, but yeah, you will get used to it. I forgot at the beginning to thank Marcel. He gave us feedback about the podcast. So for you guys to see that it's really important for us to get feedback, we are going to thank you all whenever you give us feedback. Feel free to tell me if you want me to mention your surname. I normally don't do that for obvious reasons, GDPR and all that. But if you want to be promoted for free for now, because when this podcast becomes super famous and Giorgio and I are rock stars, then you will have to pay.
You are already a rock star.
We are not. We are far away from being rock stars. But anyway.
But you have a really good intro, American country music.
Yes.
This is what I mean.
I didn't know you mastered the guitar, Ivan, and Giorgio, good voice, huh?
Giorgio, any closing thoughts on your side? No, I'd say thank you. Now, truly on a very positive note. Let's see what this brings us.
Good. Thank you guys for listening, and talk to you next week.